Group of players, I'm a good group, we can compete, and that's what Everton are looking for. Of course, Liverpool, I've got eyes on what's going on at the top of the league, but two different targets, if you like.
Yeah. Darwin Núñez, obviously nobody could condone what he did against Crystal Palace. It was ridiculous. He received the punishment. Are you surprised to see him straight back in a game of this magnitude? Bear in mind this fixture has produced 22 red cards, more than any other Premier League fixture.
He's been thrown into the deep end, really, with this particular game, because we saw his reaction in the Palace game to being wound up. It wasn't great. He's been sat on his hands for 10 days, and there's a lot of time and a lot of conversations, I would imagine, with Jurgen Klopp as to how he needs to react going forward, because you become a liability to your starting 11 if you're going to, have this weakness in your character. Yeah. So I mean, there's no more electric atmosphere than Goodison on a Derby Day game, and the stadium. Everyone says it's old, but it's got heart, it's got soul, it's got history. It's got history. It's a fantastic place to play, and rest assured he is going to get some really close attention this afternoon. Now, is he strong enough to cope with that? Time will tell. But as I said, he's been thrown in, and I'm sure, as I said, lots of conversations will have been had. Do not react.
Yeah. It's going to be one of the main subplots in this drama. The kickoff is 12:30. We're going to take a short break. After that, we'll be looking back at all the midweek action and ahead to all the other games in the Premier League. This afternoon, you're listening to Premier League Live.
Got an unquenchable thirst for sport? Get up to speed with the day's biggest sports stories with the Talk Sport Hit. Crammed full of the latest team news, big match previews, and discussing the day's hottest topics.
An improvement week in, week out.
Plus, get all the latest results and full fan reaction to the biggest events in world sport.
It's a wonderful goal!
Satisfy your thirst for sports news with the Talk Sport Hit. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Previously on White and Jordan.
People are going to turn around and say this is all saccharine and sentiment.
I know about sentiment. What's saccharin?
Saccharin is a sweet way of looking at the world.
I thought it was a soluble aspirin.
Comment, conflict and confrontation.
By God, it was eventful to say the least of it.
You look at this and say, some celebrations are better than others.
Disagree to disagree.
Is it not a courtesy thing, though? Is it not a matter of courtesy?
Oh, yeah, because football's full of courtesy.
Are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious.
Jim White and Simon Jordan continues weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport Breakfast, the only breakfast show worth getting up for. Talk Sport Breakfast with Laura Woods and Ali McCoist. Updated, upmarket, up with the lark.
What just happened there?
Talk Sport Breakfast, Monday to Wednesday morning from 6 on Talk Sport.
Mariella Meets on Times Radio. Listen to the podcast from Times Radio, where Mariella talks to radio. Listen for free on the Times Radio app.
TalkSport Drive, weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport. Unrivaled, opinionated comment from the biggest names in sport.
Join me, Andy Goldstein, and TalkSport Team Drive.
A tower of sporting power in the afternoon.
Adrenaline-soaked, seat-swapping high-performance radio where horsepower meets goal power.
TalkSport Drive.
100% nationwide coverage.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport.
The fastest football on the way home.
TalkSport Drive.
Hey, it's Brian Dunson, former Olympian and current Sirius XM FC host. Do you need more than your average recap of the weekend in soccer?
Sorry, America, but it is the biggest sport in the world.
Well, look no further than Weekend to Tackle. This podcast is all about stories we want you to know, from the most important on-the-field moments to the lighter side of the beautiful game.
You were jumping up and down like a lunatic. That's 7 beers before the game for you.
It's all on Weekend to Tackle, available every Monday, wherever you stream your podcast or listen on the SXM app, included with most subscriptions.
Welcome back. It's another warm day on the Merseyside. Slightly overcast, but fairly humid, and the summer just keeps rolling on, as does the Premier League action. We were treated to another terrific couple of days in the top flight in midweek.
The sun-up Everton on the attack. Ward-Prowse up to Perro. Cut back, huge chance for Armstrong! And my word! From behind to in front, Adam Armstrong has made it Southampton 2, Chelsea 1.
And then a goal, an equaliser for West Ham United. It's Thomas Soucek who was arriving to put the ball in the back of the net, and the bubbles are blowing now.
Tomiyasu to Saka. They're queuing up to try and get a shot away. Martinelli feeds Pereira, deflected and in. Lewis Dom tries to block the cross and slides the ball into his own goal.
Rashford through, Sancho round the goal. It is 6, and it's an incredible finish, driven into the top corner for his second of the night by Alvarez. Right hand side, Luis Sinisterra fires a shot, low indeed. 55 minutes, Luis Sinisterra, 20 yards out, left foot shot, bottom left hand corner of Jordan Pickford's net.
Gomez gets there, Salah gets there, it's only half cleared, it's bouncing around, it's in! Fabio Carvalho has volleyed via the cross. Erling Haaland, I mean, you know, I think understandably people said it might take him a little while to adjust. It often does. He's 22 years old, remember, but my goodness me, I mean, I can't remember a more explosive start to a career in England than the one he's having. 9 goals in 5 games, incredible.
No, it is incredible. No one could foresee 2 hat-tricks, for sure. You know, we look back to the Community Shield and his glaring miss.
Yes.
And, you know, that would scar many a new centre forward, wouldn't it, really?
Yes, it would.
In front of that kind of audience and the big unveiling, and oh my goodness. He misses that great opportunity, and then he goes and does what he does, which is score goals.
But that is the mark of a great striker, isn't it? You just do not linger on the misses. You just
his mindset is brilliant.
He's got ice in his veins as well, hasn't he?
Do you know what I love about him particularly? It's his anticipation. For someone who you can't miss him, right? He's a giant of an individual. It's his anticipation. It's in his head. He sees things and gambles on things like all the best and greatest goal scorers over time have had that, and he has it, and he has a self-belief that goes hand in hand with it as well. And because of his physicality, he can go places anywhere in the box. You know, like an Aguero would only be able to go certain areas and be effective. Haaland can go anywhere.
He looks like he's got absolutely every single attribute you would need as a striker, hasn't he? Even pace, and he's reasonably quick, isn't he?
And he's strong on both. You know, his left foot is obviously his main foot, but his right foot is strong as well. His balance and his body strength. He's just holding people off and not being affected by the presence of a defender. He's something else, really is.
He certainly is. Manchester City are in action today at Villa Park, who are struggling. Beaten again in midweek, and Steven Gerrard under considerable pressure, having lost 4 of their opening 5 games. That is a 5:30 kickoff with Tom Rennie and Paul Mortimer. That is the 3rd of our featured games this afternoon. 5 goals already. Let's hear from Antonio Conte on that.
I think that he's in outstanding moment for him, and last season he scored more than 40 goals, no? And was a record. He's really dangerous because when there is a ball into the box and you find him, and he's strong physically, strong with the header, and we are talking about a really good player. But the whole Fulham impressed me because they're playing very well with a good intensity, and they played the 2 games against strong opponents like Liverpool and Arsenal, and also the last game against Brighton, that is a really good team, and they started very well. We had to pay great attention.
Well, the jury was out on Mitrovic a little bit, and the last time Fulham were in the Premier League, to be fair, he didn't start every game. I think he got 3 goals in 27. Not a great return. He's already got 5 though, and clearly a different sort of player from Haaland, maybe more of an old-fashioned number 9. But you know, because of his goals, he's got 5 of Fulham's.
Which didn't materialise because I think he was relatively immature, very brazen about the style of play. And was very much field, is it? And he's got lots of it.
Yes, he does.
And he's as good as anyone in the air. How he leans across defenders, gets up early against that.
Liverpool found out, didn't they, on the opening day where he climbed above Trent Alexander-Arnold so easily.
He does that because he anticipates again the flight of the ball early. That's his speciality, isn't it? He's of great value to Fulham without a doubt, and he is someone you need to watch. He's not going to get as many chances as a Haaland, right? But he's got a good ratio, particularly this season, obviously, with his goal tally.
Yeah. Tottenham, they're third, and they've yet to be beaten. They haven't quite convinced yet, but Harry Kane, who traditionally, for some unknown reason, appeared to have barren August, has managed to get 4 goals, and that's encouraging from that point of view. I think they've made some good signings as well. Tottenham, Perisic in particular has impressed.
Quality. It's a nice place to be, though, isn't it? Third at this stage of the season,
and seemingly not playing that well.
And Son's not turned up yet this season, which is bizarre. Richarlison's gone in, made an impact. I thought he might take time to settle in, but he's doing extremely well. So very strong. I did forecast, I've got to tell you, that behind Liverpool or Man City for the league title, I fancied Tottenham this year.
So did I,
because Conte brings a special way of management, and he gets responses from his players. You can imagine being quite brutal, on the training field, in the dressing room. But no one is left in any doubt. As long as he communicates well with his squad, I think he's going to stay the distance this season.
I've got a sneaky little feeling that Tottenham might win a cup this year. It's been a long time, hasn't it, since they won a trophy 2008, but that Conte winning spirit, I mean, it's difficult to predict cups, but they've qualified for the Champions League, and they're looking in a good position to do it again. There are 5 other games today, all of which kick off at 3 o'clock. Newcastle, who were so cruelly outdone by Liverpool in midweek, entertain Crystal Palace. Brentford host Leeds United. Chelsea against West Ham is another big derby, and Chelsea, losers at Southampton in midweek, just like Liverpool, really off the pace.
Have been for quite a while, but we've seen a surge, haven't we, in this particular transfer window. I mean, the monies are almost embarrassing for the game in truth, but it needs that kind of money now to survive successful. The managers want to survive jobs or surviving jobs, and they're only given really 6 weeks to 8 weeks of putting their culture into a football club.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't add up, does it? No. But the lucky lads now have got the professionals, so much money in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to crack on. Nottingham Forest against Bournemouth. No one's made more signings than them, 19.
With the start of the season, let's not look at the league table, right? I mean, it's pointless exercise at this stage of the season. Give it another 3 or 4 games. This is where the season starts for me. Transfer window closed, and now it's about using what's at your disposal. I think Everton have done really well in the last couple of games. The energy levels have gone up, so that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for, particularly. Commitment, energy from Everton, because we know what we're going to get from Liverpool.
Tough one. You say the next few games. I mean, after this, Arsenal away, West Ham at home, Southampton away, Manchester United home, Spurs away. They've got some massive games ahead, Everton. There is a danger that I know you're right to say that it's too early to look at the table, but they could drift down.
One step at a time, John. Right? And every manager and every player will talk about focusing. Get one game, focus on the game. move on to the next, and don't look any further than that. But it's about performance. It's about giving yourselves belief that, hey, I'm in a decent group of players, I'm in a good group, we can compete, and that's what Everton are looking for. Of course, Liverpool, I've got eyes on what's going on at the top of the league, but two different targets, if you like.
Yeah. Darwin Núñez, obviously nobody could condone what he did against Crystal Palace. It was ridiculous. He received the punishment. Are you surprised to see him straight back in a game of this magnitude? Bear in mind this fixture has produced 22 red cards, more than any other Premier League fixture.
He's been thrown into the deep end, really, with this particular game, because we saw his reaction in the Palace game to being wound up. It wasn't great. He's been sat on his hands for 10 days. And a lot of time and a lot of conversations, I would imagine, with Jurgen Klopp as to how he needs to react going forward, because you become a liability to your starting 11 if you're going to have this weakness in your character.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no more electric atmosphere than Goodison on a Derby Day game, and the stadium. Everyone says it's old, but it's got heart, it's got soul, it's got history. It's got history. It's a fantastic place to play, and rest assured he is going to get some really close attention this afternoon. Now, is he strong enough to cope with that? Time will tell. But as I said, he's been thrown in, and I'm sure, as I said, lots of conversations will have been had. Do not react.
Yeah. It's going to be one of the main subplots in this drama. The kickoff is 12:30. We're going to take a short break. After that, we'll be looking back at all the midweek action and ahead to all the other games in the Premier League. This afternoon, you're listening to Premier League Live.
Got an unquenchable thirst for sport? Get up to speed with the day's biggest sports stories with the Talk Sport Hit. Crammed full of the latest team news, big match previews, and discussing the day's hottest topics.
An improvement week in, week out.
Plus, get all the latest results and full fan reaction to the biggest events in world sport.
It's a wonderful goal!
Satisfy your thirst for sports news with the Talk Sport Hit. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Previously on White and Jordan.
People are going to turn around and say this is all saccharine and sentiment.
I know about sentiment. What's saccharin?
Saccharin is a sweet way of looking at the world.
I thought it was a soluble aspirin.
Comment, conflict and confrontation.
By God, it was eventful to say the least of it.
You look at this and say, some celebrations are better than others.
Disagree to disagree.
Is it not a courtesy thing, though? Is it not a matter of courtesy?
Oh, yeah, because football's full of courtesy.
Are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious.
Jim White and Simon Jordan continues weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport Breakfast, the only breakfast show worth getting up for. Talk Sport Breakfast with Laura Woods and Ali McCoist. Updated, upmarket, up with the lark.
What just happened there?
Talk Sport Breakfast, Monday to Wednesday morning from 6 on Talk Sport.
Mariella Meets on Times Radio. Listen to the podcast from Times Radio, where Mariella talks to a host of big names from the worlds of politics, entertainment, culture and the arts, including Dame Joan Collins.
A reporter said to me, "What are you going to do if this all ends?" And I said, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. One of the things you have to know about fame is it ain't gonna last.
Mariella Meets on Times Radio. Listen for free on the Times Radio app.
TalkSport Drive. Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport. Unrivaled, opinionated comment from the biggest names in sport.
Join me, Andy Goldstein, and TalkSport Team Drive.
A tower of sporting power in the afternoon.
Adrenaline-soaked, seat-swapping high-performance radio where horsepower meets goal power.
TalkSport Drive.
100% nationwide coverage.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport.
The fastest football on the way home.
TalkSport Drive.
Hey, it's Brian Dunseth with former Olympian and current SiriusXM FC host. Do you need more than your average recap of the weekend in soccer?
Sorry, America, but it is the biggest sport in the world.
Well, look no further than Week in the Tackle. This podcast is all about stories we want you to know, from the most important on-the-field moments to the lighter side of the beautiful game.
You were jumping up and down like a lunatic. That's 7 beers before the game for you.
It's all on Week of the Tackle, available every Monday, wherever you stream your podcast or listen on the SXM app, included with most subscriptions.
Welcome back. It's another warm day on the Merseyside. Slightly overcast, but fairly humid, and the summer just keeps rolling on, as does the Premier League action. We were treated to another terrific couple of days in the top flight in midweek.
Southampton on the attack. Ward-Prowse up to Perro. Cut back. Huge chance for Armstrong. And my word! From behind to in front, Adam Armstrong has made it Southampton 2, Chelsea 1.
And then a goal, an equaliser for West Ham United. It's Thomas Soucek who was arriving to put the ball in the back of the net, and the bubbles are blowing now.
Tomiyasu to Saka. They're queuing up to try and get a shot away. Martinelli! It's straight back and straight in from Gabriel Martinelli.
Back to Yano, cross into the box. Wisa! Brentford equalise with 3 minutes of normal time remaining.
Cabano racing towards the penalty area. Feeds Pereira, deflected and in. Lewis Dong tries to block the cross, and the captain slides the ball into his own goal.
Rashford through, Sancho round the goalkeeper, beautifully done by Jadon Sancho, and maybe he finally has liftoff as a Manchester United player.
And City are driving forward, and suddenly they're on the hunt for a sixth, and it's Mahrez with the shot. It's blocked, it breaks, and it is 6, and it's an incredible finish, driven into the top corner for his second of the night by Alvarez. Right hand side, Luis Sinisterra fires a shot, low, it's in! 55 minutes, Luis Sinisterra, 20 yards out, left foot shot, bottom left hand corner of Jordan Pickford's net.
Gomez gets there, Salah gets there, it's only half cleared, it's bouncing around, it's in! Fabio Carvalho has volleyed via the crossbar into the net. A dramatic late winner for Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool leaving it late against Newcastle, but as we mentioned, Arsenal, they have a 100% record. Manchester City 6-0 winners in midweek, and we have to ask you about Erling Haaland. I mean, you know, I think understandably people said it might take him a little while to adjust. It often does. He's 22 years old, remember, but my goodness me, I mean, I can't remember a more explosive start to
more Andrew McKenna.
last gasp winner up front. Mo Salah, Darwin Nunez and Luis Diaz. That means that Andy Robertson is on the bench today alongside Roberto Firmino. Jordan Henderson is out with a hamstring injury. So Virgil van Dijk skippers Liverpool, who have a throw-in close to the edge of the Everton penalty area, which Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to take. And the ball goes behind, and Liverpool have an early corner.
Yeah, and nothing special really happening in the game other than Liverpool, other teams had the possession in the early stages and have found their way up the field. It's already tight, but first pressure point for Everton. Corner kick, Trent Alexander-Arnold, we know his quality. Everton need to defend. You've got your Codys and Tarkowskis in there. They need to be first to the ball.
Darwin Nunez is in there wrestling with Tom Davis. Trent Alexander-Arnold's corner is going to be an outswinger, and it might fall for Elliott, or rather Tsimikas it was, who hammered it from the edge of the penalty area. It was blocked by a blue shirt, and Everton managed to clear on the far side, but already, Trevor, most of the action has taken place inside Everton's half.
Yeah, that's just the way this game is going to, over the 90 minutes, you expect possession to be with Liverpool. Everton look fairly secure, fairly tight, nothing really open about how they've set up, and they just want to get through this first few minutes, get a touch of the ball. I'm interested to see how they're going to press at the other end when they do get forward. Are they going to put a real high press on Liverpool?
Here's Fabinho finding Alexander-Arnold. Now it's Mohamed Salah, 2 goals for him this season, and that's a lovely run, but not such a good ball. It's intercepted comfortably and flicked forward by Everton. It'll be chased by Neil Maupay, the new signing from Brighton and Hove Albion, with whom he made 109 appearances, scoring 27 goals, but he hasn't scored since February.
Do you know, I'm looking at him, he's got a great likeness to Richarlison, hasn't he? I know he's got the silver hair dye in.
It's a little shorter than Richarlison. I know what you mean.
His gait is very similar to Richarlison. What he's trying to do is run around, be busy, be energetic, and get involved in and around the penalty area.
Here's Tsimikas. Overlap from Diaz, left-hand side, looking to take on Patterson, gets it into the box. It's repelled by Connor Cody, the recent signing on loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers. Connor Cody grew up as an absolutely dyed-in-the-wool Liverpool fan. He actually was a youth player at Liverpool. He made 2 appearances for them before moving to Huddersfield and then Wolves. But I think he travelled to the Champions League final in Paris in May when Liverpool were beaten by Real Madrid. Here's Elliott, who was superb the other night, and that's a lovely first time ball by Alexander-Arnold for Salah. Back to Alexander-Arnold again. Scuffed cross is cleared by Iwobi, and Liverpool continue to dominate the Liverpool half. The ball hasn't been anywhere near Alisson in the opening 5 minutes. Here's Fabinho, and now Salah. That's another clever ball, and Elliott has options here, gets it into the box, can't find a teammate. Alexander-Arnold back to skipper today, Virgil van Dijk. The Liverpool supporters who've made the short trip are enjoying what they're seeing at the moment. Here's Tsimikas, just drops it back to Carvalho, who's made 5 substitute appearances but is finally a starter in red. And Liverpool still have possession with Salah. And now Alexander-Arnold. Good tackle though by Onana, and here's Maupay. He's all on his own at the moment. He's got Gordon to his left-hand side. It's Neil Maupay. That's a clever ball. It's Onana. Delays. I don't know why he delayed, Trevor. Should have shot, shouldn't he? And he didn't. And in the end, the ball just dribbled through to Alisson for his first touch.
Neil Maupay did brilliantly there. The ball was stolen back by Everton around their penalty area, and a quick ball from Iwobi to Maupay. His clever footwork unbalances Liverpool's defence, and he threads Onana in, who had that chance, as you said, to hit the ball first time. A Liverpool defender was coming to close him down. He took a touch, and in the end he just really miss-hit the ball towards Alisson. But it looks like this is going to pan out to be a counter-attacking game for Everton. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, and Onana only managed 1 goal for Lille last season in Liga, so he's not a prolific goal scorer. Gordon goes down in the centre circle. It's going to be a free kick to Everton. He's a young lad, Gordon. Last season was his breakthrough season. Quite a lot on his shoulders though, isn't there, because he had this potentially big money move. He stayed loyal to the club. Lampard's picked him for every game, but he's still a kid. It's quite a burden, isn't it?
Lampard's been absolutely unwavering in his support for Anthony Gordon, and he's made the lad feel as if this is where he can really make himself or take himself to the next level. So, and his attitude's been brilliant in the early stages.
Yes, it has. Here's Demarai Gray, who controls beautifully. It's a useful looking ball, but there's only Maupay in the box. It bypasses him, and then Gordon closes down Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, super ball in there from Demarai Gray. It was a ball out of defence from Cody. He's pushed up wide right. Demarai Gray had 1 touch, great skill with that, and a great ball into the 6-yard box. Just a lack of numbers there.
Yeah, he's got a couple of goals this season. Demarai Gray. Only him and Anthony Gordon have managed to score for Everton so far in the Premier League. Here's Joe Gomez for Liverpool. Finds Elliott. Elliott can't find Fabinho. It's won by Davis. Now it's Gray attacking the Liverpool penalty area. Demarai Gray slips it through. This is a chance. Oh, and it's wasted by Maupay, who had a golden opportunity there to become an Everton superhero in the twinkling of an eye. Lovely ball through to him. Good work by Gray initially. And then Maupay completely scuffed his shot. Didn't even get it anywhere near the target. It rolled wide, apologetically almost.
It comes from the press that Everton put on as the ball is in and around the edge of the Liverpool box. As they try to break, they win it back, and really Liverpool are at 6s and 7s because Everton have moved it quickly and nicely. Maupay just again pulls the shot wide. Could have ran to Gordon, who was coming in at the far post, but it drifts out for a goal kick.
His last goal in the Premier League was against Watford in a 2-0 win for Brighton. That was back in March, and I know he's a good player, Maupay, but that didn't look like a confident finish, did it? It looked like somebody who is a bit rusty and needs a goal.
Yeah, I think he's going to do well, bizarrely.
Okay.
He's got an attitude, and he falls out with defenders. He makes it difficult for them. He doesn't shirk a challenge, so Everton know they're going to have some physicality up there, which they used to have with Charlison. So I don't think it's for the long term for Everton, but for the here and now, I think he's a good signing.
Well, they certainly need a striker, don't they? Richarlison, as you mentioned, hasn't been adequately replaced. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a huge miss. Now then, 9 minutes have been played at Goodison Park, and everybody is on their feet applauding. The reason for that is they're remembering the tragic death of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Corbell, who was murdered in her own home by a gunman. Shocking story that has really jolted this city. There have been other gun murders in Liverpool as well. It's an unhappy time from that point of view. Our condolences to everybody involved with Olivia, who will be greatly missed, of course, and Reds and Blues alike are standing and applauding 9 minutes because she died at the tragically early age of 9. Here's Alexander Arnold getting the ball forward. It's just left by Cody. Goes through to Jordan Pickford. 10 minutes gone, 0-0 in the derby, but after that period of remembrance, there's a roar from Everton fans trying to will their team to get forward. Tarkowski, that's a good ball out of defence, and he's found Alex Iwobi. Iwobi's got it through to Gordon. Gordon wearing 10 this season, of course, which is a measure of the esteem he's held in by the club and the manager. Harvey Elliott, who has 19 on his back and he's 19 years old. He's no longer, or rather he is now the only teenager, because earlier this week Fabio Carvalho turned 20. Elliott was fantastic against Newcastle.
Yeah,
I did
Newcastle.
that game.
I saw that game, and
he's really one who looks like he's blossoming quickly.
At 19, to the maturity of his performance, and he was involved in everything for Liverpool, and certainly helped them get the victory that they needed. But this game, as it started, I'm quite liking what Everton look like as a team. I can see more bodies in central midfield. And just on the Everton side, Iwobi has been excellent this season. I mean, he has come on.
Slightly different role for him, isn't it? Yeah, he's more of a defensive midfield player than a flying winger these days, but you're right. Here's Davis, another one who's back in the fold. Had an injury problem earlier in the season, but is back in the side. Gray switches it to the right hand side. Gordon's header is misplaced. It's intercepted by Elliott, who made his debut in the Premier League 30 days after his 16th birthday for Fulham, but is enjoying himself on Merseyside. He, of course, got his first Premier League goal in that thrashing of Bournemouth a week ago. Here's Tsimikas, the man whose penalty won the FA Cup for Liverpool last season. Now Diaz, another who's been outstanding. Fabinho, who was down injured a moment ago, is back up, and now the referee stopped the play here. I'm not quite sure entirely
Nathan
what's going
Patterson and Luis Diaz had a bit of a coming together as Diaz ran across the field with the ball. Patterson just got a little bit close to him, got a little bit physical, and it was just a case of rubbing each other up the wrong way slightly, you know. But Anthony Taylor wanted to put that out quickly, you know, stop that.
I think Anthony Taylor's a good referee, and I think what he's doing, he's called Van Dijk, the Liverpool captain, over. He's saying to Patterson and Diaz, you know, it was something of a nothing really, but for goodness sake, try and control your tempers, otherwise the yellow card and even maybe a red if you overstep the mark will be produced. I mentioned earlier that 22 red cards in the Premier League era in this fixture is more than any other. I mean, it is a derby that stirs the blood, isn't it? Here's Trent Alexander-Arnold getting to the edge of the penalty area. Square ball, not a particularly good one. It'll be rescued by Tsimikas, who cuts it back to Van Dijk. Van Dijk just inside the Everton half finds Carvalho, useful ball. Now it's Tsimikas trying to get the cross. It's not a good one. Straight at Jordan Pickford. Actually, it was Nunez, I beg your pardon, not Tsimikas, who crossed it. We haven't seen a lot of him yet.
No, quite a start for him. Yeah. So, you know, Cody and Tarkowski are obviously focusing on him, snuffing that out. And honestly, Everton have had a little bit better of it in going forward and creating an opportunity.
Here's Davis on the far side, whose uncle is Alan Whittle, who was an Everton great in the era before Trevor's, when I think they won the title in 1970, didn't they, in the days of Alan Ball and Colin Harvey and Howard Kendall. Yeah. And Alan Whittle, who is Tom Davis's uncle, was a big part of that, good player. Here's Cody trying to ping it forward. He hasn't quite got it right. Demarai Gray was hoping that it would stay in, but it bounced beyond him and has gone out of play. We've had nearly 15 minutes. It's Everton 0, Liverpool 0 on Premier League Live, where we've got every game covered for you today. 8 of them. Tomorrow we've got Brighton against Leicester, and you won't want to miss 4:30 at Old Trafford, Manchester United against Arsenal, which is always a huge game. Now, long ball forward towards Diaz, who couldn't quite control it with his head. It would have been difficult to bring the ball under control. It was bouncing up high, came off the top of his head. Pickford had rushed out. Diaz had half a mind to try and control it and convert from an angle, but he never got the chance because the ball's gone behind.
Yeah, that's just a long ball really from Alexander-Arnold, trying to turn the Everton back four. They are pushing up quite nicely and trying to keep it tight and keep as compact as they can, the Everton team. But that was a difficult one for Luis Diaz. He's such a busy player, and I'm looking at that competition there between Nathan Patterson and Luis Diaz. That could be one of the sort of heat spots, the hot spots of this afternoon.
Yeah. Liverpool haven't won in their 2 away games this season, beaten at Manchester United, of course, on that Monday night, and held on the opening day by Fulham. So their away form does need to improve. They haven't won since they beat Southampton back in May at St Mary's. That was their last away win. Here's Alisson, who's barely had a touch, wearing all yellow today. He's ditched that mauve kit that he's been wearing for the last couple of games. Here's Trent Alexander-Arnold, complete missed kick under pressure from Gordon, and Everton have a throw-in.
High press, John, and Liverpool trying to play their way around the blue shirts, but a bit of pressure on Alexander-Arnold there, and he miscues into the stand.
Gives Everton a throw-in. It's going to be taken by the Ukrainian international Vitaly Mykolenko. Everton have stuck with a back four today. Here's a header across field, good one too by Cody. It finds Patterson, who's tangling with Nunez, but he's found Gray. Gray looking to take on Tsimikas. Tsimikas can't get to him at the moment, but it's a good block by Fabinho in the box, and suddenly the ball is with Luis Diaz, and he's springing forward for Everton, for Liverpool. Everton have got plenty back. That's a very poor ball indeed by Diaz, behind Salah, who does rescue it to his credit and finds Alexander-Arnold. It's Trent Alexander-Arnold, square ball across field to Tsimikas. Now it's Nunez who's being booed by the Everton fans, and we're back to walking pace really, with the ball at the feet of Virgil van Dijk, who you may remember announced himself as a Liverpool player with an FA Cup winning goal against Everton. It was about 4 or 5 years ago now. Here he is now, firmly entrenched as a Liverpool player. It's his 187th appearance today. Crossfield ball, header away by Mykolenko. Prevents it reaching Harvey Elliott. Liverpool have a throw-in. 18 minutes played, 0-0 at Goodison Park. Coming up, we've got another derby, Spurs against Fulham, and then later Villa Manchester City. Here's Elliott finding Salah inside the box, finds Fabinho, now Harvey Elliott again. Cross with the outside of his right boot is repelled by Tarkowski. The ball is still loose. Alexander-Arnold might get there. Better than that, he's produced a brilliant cross, and the header is over the bar from Darwin Núñez. That was a magnificent cross by Trent Alexander-Arnold, who had to stretch even to reach the ball. He hung it up to the back post, and Darwin Núñez, back in the team, who has been quiet, got up, but he's put his header, well, it was quite a long way wide in the end.
Yeah, I should have done better with that great cross, as you say, from Trent Alexander-Arnold. He just catches the ball before it's about to roll out for a goal kick, and whips it to the far post. And Núñez couldn't get a strong enough header on it, so that's an opportunity gone.
He did score on day one against Fulham, and then of course got involved in that ugly incident with Joachim Andersen against Crystal Palace, and hasn't been available since that game. Here's Iwobi, centre midfield for Everton. Great ball. Davis finds Gray. Gray's got options to his right. Here's Patterson. Patterson tries to cut it back. There's a scream of handball. I'm sure that hit Tsimikas on the back, and Liverpool will clear it with Carvalho. But Everton are finding little gaps in and around the edge of the box, aren't they?
They're taking a calculated risk with their passing, and it's coming up once or twice. What it needed then was Tom Davis to have great control when the ball was fed to him from Iwobi, and he did. It's about your first touch, and they kept possession and almost got a cross in from Nathan Patterson.
Frank Lampard, who's wearing a navy blue polo top, will be fairly happy with what he's seen so far from his team. Still winless. They haven't won in 6 games actually, Everton. The last time they won was that famous game against Crystal Palace last season, which kept them up. But they really don't want another season of nail-biting drama like that, do they? I mean, it was far too close for comfort, wasn't it, last season? And it's a long time since Everton last played outside this division. They haven't been relegated since 1951, but I think you'd have to say that they are candidates, aren't they? I know it's not something you particularly want to contemplate, but I think it's real.
Not what I'm seeing here. I can see a lot more cohesion about what's going on. I was at that game, the Everton Crystal Palace match, and we looked like a relegation team. And fortunately the game turned. The fans were excellent, and that was the end of the story as far as being threatened with relegation is concerned. But now that the new players are in, and we've got players who can play a system. I mean, we're looking at 2 teams here playing 4-3-3, so they're kind of just up against each other, almost nullifying each other. But that is the system that the top teams want to play now. 3 quick forwards, good presence in midfield, and then you've got your fullbacks who are prepared to get forward. There's your risk. There's your risk element.
They have made a couple of late signings. Idrissa Gueye is back for his second spell with the club, having spent a season at Paris Saint-Germain, or a couple of seasons. He's on the bench. James Garner is a signing from Manchester United, who's a midfield player who's good from set pieces. He's not on the bench. I don't know whether that's because of an injury issue, or whether maybe they didn't quite get the paperwork done in time, but he's English, so I don't suppose it was that much of a problem, but he's not on the bench. What do you make of those 2 signings? Decent?
Yeah, I think all the signings have fitted a plan, which is good to see, and they've, apart from João Pedro, which I think they were kind of really keen on, and I know that'll be a sore one for you.
No, you're not having him.
That would have been a good signing. But
it would.
I would say that Frank Lampard's very happy with what he has now.
Well, I've watched Watford 3 times this season, and João Pedro, honestly, he's a superb player. He's far too good for the Championship, and hopefully he won't be in the Championship next season if he can help Watford gain promotion. But no, I mean, I think he would have been. I think he was more linked with Newcastle though than Everton. But he hit both him and Ismaila Sarr have stayed at Watford. Anyway, Everton have their first corner. Gray with it, flicked on at the near post. It'll come out to Gordon, who shoots on target. And Alisson, who saw the ball late through a crowd, did well to get down and cling on. But that was the first real sight of goal for the men in blue.
Yeah, best effort so far from Everton. Indeed, in the game, ball breaks to the heart, to the 18-yard box. Luis Diaz is trying to chase it down as a Liverpool defender. Anthony Gordon gets there before him, doesn't get enough angle on that to take it round Alisson, so it's a fairly comfortable save.
Yeah, we're midway through the first half. No goals yet in the Merseyside derby. Liverpool won here by 4-1 last season. Mo Salah got 2. He scored 4 goals in previous games against Liverpool's arch rivals. Here's Gomez, centre midfield. Just pushes it across to Trent Alexander-Arnold, but the press by Everton forces Alexander-Arnold to go all the way back to goalkeeper Alisson, who finds his compatriot Fabinho. They've also got Arthur, of course, another Brazilian to add to the Brazilian ranks at Anfield. Roberto Firmino as well. Arthur I think he's a bit of a gamble. I mean, he hasn't had a particularly great time at Juventus. Has he struggled to get his place? He hasn't really. I mean, I was told that he was one of the real rising stars of Brazilian football when he was in his homeland, but he hasn't quite. He was at Barcelona as well.
Well, we'll see what happens with that one, but it's a loan deal, isn't it? And so it's a low risk one, but it's an extra player into the dressing room, and obviously with the injuries that Liverpool have been amassing, they needed a bit of cover in there.
He did help Brazil win the Copa America in 2019. Here's Mikolenko finding Gray, who swapped flanks. He's on the left at the moment. He's showing good pace and good skill, and that's a foul by Gomez, which he'll be lucky to escape a yellow. Oh, is it? What's he given? Is he given a goal kick?
It looked like it was a foul, but Anthony Gomez says that Demarai Gray has died there and there was no contact. Well, there was a little bit. Yeah,
but I think it was contact by Gray on Gomez.
He stood on Gomez's foot, really, didn't he?
No, well spotted, referee. Actually, so far, Anthony Taylor's had a decent game. 25 minutes old. Only really been one effort on target, the Anthony Gordon shot, which was fairly comfortably saved by Alisson. The booing is for a free kick awarded to Liverpool for a foul on Tsimikas, which the Everton fans didn't feel was justified, but it has been given.
Yeah, it was a foul, though, wasn't it? It was, Anthony Gordon was pulling his Tsimikas' his shirt. Of course, the blue half of Merseyside would not see it that way.
No, they won't. It's going to be Tsimikas, who's got a good left foot to take the free kick. Towering header away, though, is by Tarkowski. Back it comes for Carvalho. There's a late challenge there by Gordon, which is going to result in another Liverpool free kick. And
I think it was a coming together as the ball was headed out, but Anthony Gordon again is leaning in
a little bit. Yeah.
His elbows up slightly, albeit beneath shoulder level. It's a foul, but Anthony Gordon must have been tempted there to get the yellow out.
Well, Anthony Taylor, you mean?
Yeah, Anthony Taylor.
Anthony Gordon. I know what you mean.
Anthony Taylor. Sorry.
Yeah, he definitely had his elbow in the small of his back, didn't he? So it's another set piece for Everton to defend. They cut pretty well with the last one. Liverpool have got 6 players lined up along the edge of the 18-yard box. Tsimikas and Alexander-Arnold are standing over this one. You fancy it'll be the Englishman. It's not, it's the Greek. And it comes in towards Diaz, who toe pokes it goalwards, but in the end, a fairly simple save from Jordan Pickford. I think me and everybody else was expecting Trent Alexander-Arnold to curl that one in. Tsimikas did. Faintest of touches by Diaz, and an easy save for Pickford.
Yeah, that's.
And now there's a long ball forward. Nunez chasing, but Pickford again.
Well, you know, with Liverpool, the quality that they have on the ball to get the ball into the right areas, that actually took a little deflection as it made its way into the 6-yard box. But Luis Diaz didn't make any contact with it, and the ball follows through to Jordan Pickford with an easy collection.
What's your feeling about England's goalkeeping? I wouldn't call it a dilemma. I think it's quite a happy dilemma, but Pope and Ramsdale are knocking on the door, aren't they?
I'm liking what Nick Pope's doing, by the way, at Newcastle United.
Yeah, brilliant.
I would say in all honesty, he'd probably get my vote. You know, as an Evertonian, obviously Pickford is. You'd want to see Pickford do well.
Pickford's he hasn't really let England down, has he? You know, he can be erratic. And Gareth South, he can be erratic.
You know,
more so for his club than his country, I would say.
Yeah, but he tends to get well protected for England, and it's a bit more open when you're behind an Everton defence. You know.
Here's Joe Gomez, still goalless in the Merseyside derby. We've reached 28 minutes. That's a really poor ball by Joe Gomez, trying to pick out Luis Diaz. He'd have had to have been 17 feet tall to get to that one. Liverpool have had 68% of the possession, but neither side has really created too much in the way of chances thus far. A header wide by Nunez, a toe poke weak by Diaz at one end, Anthony Gordon with a shot saved by Alisson at the other. As I said, 4 of the last 5 meetings at Goodison have been drawn, but Everton have when you think 1 win in 26 home and away against Liverpool is a pretty dreadful record. They haven't won here since 2011. It's been a while.
I mean, mentally that's a big thing to overcome. They need a result, because otherwise it's just going to carry on seeping into the psyche.
Here's Mykolenko. He's got Gordon for company, cutting in from the left-hand side. That's I thought it was a really good ball. It was a really well-intentioned ball, but he didn't quite pull it off. Gray does applaud it, but it was swirling over his head.
I think he just saw that a little bit late, Anthony Gordon, and he's hit the cross because he was going at it too quickly. And Demarai Gray I think Demarai Gray has had a really good start to the game. He's collected the ball in wide positions, he's attacked defenders, and generally had an end product.
Here's Elliott for Liverpool. Trent Alexander-Arnold, first time ball in, repelled by Tarkowski. Here's Fabinho, centre midfield. Plays a short ball to Harvey Elliott. Elliott, wearing bright orange boots, clips it away towards Alexander-Arnold. Doesn't reach him. Mykolenko flicks it away. I think there's an offside flag anyway. And with half an hour played, Everton will have a free kick. It's more even perhaps than some neutrals might have thought.
Well, Everton have steadied the ship a little bit. If you think about the first 5 minutes of the game where Liverpool absolutely dominated possession, Mo Salah touched the ball maybe 8 to 10 times in the first 5 minutes, and we haven't seen him in the last 20 odd.
No, absolutely not. Well, we've had 30 minutes. Draw, I mean, I know they've had 3 consecutive draws. A draw wouldn't be too bad a result for Everton. I think it would be seen as a sort of psychological boost, wouldn't it?
It's all about it's not all about the performance, but it's very much about performance, that the fans can believe in what's going to be in front of them for the rest of the season.
That's a strong back pass by Joe Gomez that some goalkeepers might have struggled with, but Alisson's such a technician. He just controlled it on his chest, thumped it away. He has conceded a throw, but I don't think he'll thank Gomez for that back pass. It was overhit. It wasn't goalwards, but he had to react quickly, and he did. Here's Mykolenko for Everton. Header away by Gomez. Still no Joel Matip for Liverpool, who've got quite a long injury list. Matip's on the mend, he's back on the bench. Curtis Jones was on the bench in midweek, but isn't today. Henderson's been added, of course, to that list. Diogo Jota's back on the bench today. He's a great figure to have back for Liverpool. Fantastic season last campaign. Here's Davis for Everton into the box, tackled by Gomez. Away it comes. There's a appeal for a foul which is not given. Here's Demarai Gray for Everton. Whacks it against the shins of Tsimikas, but he's got a second chance, Gray, to produce some trickery. Now Patterson out to... he was trying to find Onana, who was shaping a volley there, but it didn't reach him. But this is a good little spell from Everton, and Patterson's wriggled away again. The ball is in. Gomez, mistake! Mopé! Davis hits the post! Everton desperately unlucky. Poor defending by Joe Gomez. Mopé had a swipe at it. It fell at Davis. Davis with his right foot. He's shaking his head in disbelief because his effort has come off the post, by far the nearest to a goal so far.
He's got to score. He's absolutely got to score from there. 7 metres out of goal. The ball breaks to him after Mopé's effort is blocked, and he toe pokes it or tries to curl it with the outside of his foot and comes back off the post.
He hasn't scored in 63 games, Tom Davis. Last goal was in a League Cup tie against Leicester, which Everton lost on penalties. Again, as I mentioned before, only 2 Everton players have managed to find the net in the Premier League this season. Here's Cody. Once again, it's a really poor ball out of defence. Demarai Gray must be getting a bit fed up with seeing the ball flying over his head. We're looking at this again. Mopé was half tackled by Van Dijk. Well, you just wonder sometimes whether maybe a left foot shot into the opposite corner. I do worry sometimes about players who they just, they don't seem confident enough to use their weaker foot. I mean,
the ball's either got to his feet too quickly and he's panicked somewhat because it was an open opportunity, a clear opportunity, and he snatched at it somewhat.
Yeah, he did. Best opportunity for Everton. Will they be cursing that miss? Here's Trent Alexander-Arnold away towards Nunez, who acrobatically makes contact, but he's knocked the ball up into the air by the corner flag. And then tries another acrobatic and ends up with the corner flag landing in what looked like a fairly painful position. He was either side of the corner flag.
He got a little nudge in the back from Nathan Patterson, and he's fell to his backside and slid into the flag stick.
I'm glad he's smiling.
Yeah.
Would have brought tears to my eyes, I think. Anyway, no harm done. Throw into Everton. And that's a foul on Davis, as you can tell by the jubilant applause of the Everton supporters, who are certainly getting encouragement here. There's
I can
there's
see
a feeling here that they're matching Liverpool.
They're winning individual battles in various places across the pitch, and it's very, very encouraging. But Liverpool just need one opportunity, and they're clinical.
Yeah, they are. Here's Gomez, who's had a slightly ropey start. He's having his shirt pulled there by Anthony Gordon and will win a free kick. He's looked a little bit shaky, Gomez, at the back, hasn't he? Some of his clearances haven't been up to scratch.
And again, Everton are putting pressure on the ball and making it a little bit more difficult than Liverpool might have expected at this stage of the game. It's not settled down. Sometimes these games never settle down. You go for 90 minutes at this place.
10 minutes to go to half time. Goalless at Goodison. Elliott back to Gomez, square to Van Dijk, and again good press from Everton. Liverpool are having trouble putting their passes together. That one by Fabinho's gone all the way back to the goalkeeper Alisson, who fires it towards Salah, whose last 20 minutes barely had a kick. In fact, the front three for Liverpool.
Carvalho, quiet. Nunez has sort of drifted out to the left.
Diaz bits and pieces. I think Everton will be very happy with the way things have gone. As you say, they are up against quality opposition, and the fact that Mo Salah is having a quiet game doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to undo you in the end, as he so often does.
Hold on, this isn't Liverpool time wasting, is it? After 35 minutes.
Well, there was all that furore, wasn't there, on Wednesday with Newcastle. My feeling was that I thought the referee was correct to add 8 minutes in that game, because during the stoppage time period, I think it was Jamal Lascelles went down for quite a lengthy spell of cramp, and the referee has to add it on. Otherwise, at the end of the day, you're shortchanging the public. They paid to see 90 minutes of football plus whatever they've missed, and I didn't have that much sympathy for Eddie Howe and Newcastle with their complaints about that. I'll tell you what, I have even less sympathy about Eddie Howe moaning about how clubs are trying to hold Newcastle to ransom. It's not surprising they've all that money. I mean, I don't think there were too many tears shed from most of the rest of the Premier League about that. Here's Harvey Elliott, right hand side, finds Mo Salah. Salah drifting in field, tries to clip it forward. It's blocked, but it's come back to Harvey Elliott. Now it's Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now Carvalho, Fabinho, Elliott. In it comes. It's a good ball. It's a good header clear as well, though. Really good header by Conor Cody. Had 2 Liverpool players right on his shoulder there, and he got up above them both and made a good fist of a header. If indeed you can make a good fist of a header, and that's probably a mixed metaphor. Here's Fabinho to Nunez. Free kick Liverpool for a foul on Carvalho. And Onana is going to be booked for that one. So it's a yellow card for the recent signing from Lille. And it was extraordinarily late.
It was. As time's gone by, there's been an accumulation of little offences, and I think Onana's timing there, as we saw in the tackle, was really off.
It was shocking.
But I think Anthony Taylor he's got a yellow card on his mind somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I mean that one. It wasn't a nasty, vicious challenge, but the ball had travelled about 10 yards by the time he made the tackle, and Carvalho's still down. The youngster, as I mentioned, he celebrated his 20th birthday recently, and Tuesday in fact, and he scored in the last 2 games, both of them victories. Newcastle on Wednesday, the thrashing of Bournemouth prior to that. And he's still down receiving treatment. Jurgen Klopp doesn't look a very happy man, does he?
It looked to me like it was a banging of knees rather than a twist. So hopefully Carvalho will not be down for too long.
No, he's a Portuguese under-21 international, Carvalho, and he's looked really good. He's made substitute appearances in all of Liverpool's previous 5 games. First time he started. Arthur, the new man, is among the substitutes warming up, the Brazilian. He's talking to Diogo Jota in their combined language of Portuguese, or their mutual language of Portuguese. Carvalho doesn't look entirely comfortable. He's hobbling slightly. It looks like the right knee has been jarred a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. I think they'll be keen to get him back on. Meanwhile, the 10 men of Liverpool who are on the pitch have a corner kick. It's the same two having a discussion. It's the same sort of area from the last one with which Tsimikas almost found Diaz. Trent Alexander-Arnold is the other conspirator, and there are 5 Liverpool players on the edge of the box. Who will it be this time? Tsimikas again, high and hanging. Fabinho's up, beaten in the air. It breaks for Salah. Salah, right hand side, gets the cross in, and this time it's a much better header from Darwin Núñez, but it's still wide over the top of the crossbar. But he had one a moment ago that he got all wrong. That one, much better effort, but he couldn't keep it down.
Yeah, but he'll be disappointed with himself because he's got a clear run onto it. Tom Davis is the Everton player involved, and Tom's not the biggest. No. So Núñez, if he's going to get his timing right, he's got to get his timing right and get the ball down. Just floated over the crossbar. Now
Carvalho's back on, but he still doesn't look entirely comfortable. We've got 5 minutes to go to half time plus stoppage time, as Jordan Pickford gets the ball back into play. Well, he doesn't do that actually. He gets it straight out of play. Great catch by the ball boy, by the way. I know it was like a slip fielder in cricket. Took it beautifully, but Pickford won't be very happy of wasting possession by slicing it straight out of play. At least he sliced it quite a long way. It's inside the Liverpool half. Throw by Alexander-Arnold. Header away by Mykolenko. Helped on its way by Davis. It might drop here for Gordon, who's dispossessed by Carvalho, who seems to be okay now. It's come to Elliott near side. Onana's in there, and is he giving a free kick? Onana's very unhappy about something. I don't know whether it's the decision of the throw in.
He thought the ball ricocheted off the Liverpool player. I think it was Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Well, Trent Alexander-Arnold has the throw, which he hasn't found Mo Salah with. It'll drop. Well, it would have dropped for Núñez, but he's content to let the ball go out of play for another Liverpool throw-in. Got 4 minutes to go to the interval. Trent Alexander-Arnold has the ball in his hands. 0-0 at Goodison Park. We've got another derby. It's North against West London, Tottenham and Fulham. And Luis Diaz attempts to win a corner have not succeeded. And Anthony Taylor has pointed to a goal kick. Later on we've got Aston Villa against Manchester City. If Liverpool drop points here, you'd expect City to beat Villa, so it could be a costly game for them. Roberto Firmino's warming up, which suggests to me maybe that Carvalho might not make it.
Yeah, he's not been really impactful in the game anyway, John, so I don't think it would be a loss to Liverpool, and Firmino coming on would add to their capabilities.
Yeah, 2 goals and 3 assists last weekend. Firmino, who finally got a couple of goals at Anfield. He'd got most of his goals away from home prior to that. Long ball forward. Nunez is onto it, controls, shoots! Oh, magnificent save by Pickford, who's clawed it under the bar. Danger not over yet. It's Diaz! It's hit the post!
Unbelievable.
My goodness
Unbelievable.
me, we've had the post struck at both ends, but in between that, Jordan Pickford made an incredible save from a wonderful volley by Darwin Nunez. He got nowhere near the Diaz follow-up. It hit the inside of the post and came away, and Liverpool will be wondering how on earth they haven't scored. That is a fantastic save by Pickford, and his left-hand post did the job for him from the follow-up.
We have just seen world-class football there, haven't we? Nunez, the way that he took the ball on his chest and volleyed it towards the top corner, and then Pickford gets a touch, turns it onto the crossbar. Diaz comes in after he's picked the ball up, curls it, hits the inside of the post.
You're right, absolute quality from all concerned. That was extraordinary moment of passage of play. So Tom Davies has hit the post at one end, and Luis Diaz has now hit the post in the other. Nobody's hit the net yet. It's 0-0. And we're 2 minutes away from half-time plus stoppage. Here's Diaz again, who'll be cursing the fact that he beat the keeper but not the woodwork. Here's Tsimikas finding Carvalho, who's moving freely again. So Firmino has sat back down. Here's Virgil van Dijk on the halfway line, finding Carvalho again. Little clip forward, poor one, intercepted easily by Cody. But Everton can't get possession at the moment. It's come all the way back to Alisson, who pushes it forward to Joe Gomez. Now it's Elliott. And square it goes to Virgil van Dijk. Don't think there'll be a huge amount of added on time, maybe a couple of minutes at the end of this first half. We are now in the 45th minute of the game. Van Dijk clips it forward. Useful ball, controlled by Trent Alexander-Arnold, whose left foot cross is intercepted on the edge of the box by James Tarkowski. Here's Fabinho. Liverpool looking the more likely to pinch a goal before half-time. This is Diaz, looking to take on his man. Overlap from Tsimikas, cross is nodded behind by Cody. Liverpool corner.
It's just become a little bit untidy from Everton, and I think as the half has gone on, not getting on the ball so much, Liverpool dominating with possession and getting a couple of great opportunities to open the scoring. Hanging on really, Everton, just to get to half-time.
Yeah, they want the whistle, don't they? They've got a corner to deal with first, though. Tsimikas is going to take it. It's going to be an outswinger from the left full-back. Plenty of movement inside the box. Here's Van Dijk. Header was blocked. And then Gordon to Gray. And back to Gordon again. Will there be a break on here from Everton? Perhaps they've got four in this attack. If Gordon can find the right pass. Gomez is across and does well. Good tackle by Joe Gomez. Not all of his work's been exemplary today, but that was excellent play to make sure that Everton didn't launch a counter there. Here's Carvalho. Toe pokes it up to Salah. Salah is dispossessed on the centre spot. And Everton have a free kick, which is taken quickly by Mopai, who had a good chance early on, but they haven't really got him into the game very much, have they?
No, but he's still lively. You know, he's just did a bit of good work holding the ball up, gets the foul.
Gordon's cross for Everton, away by Gomez. It'll be picked up, I think, by Mikalenko before it goes out of play. It does. Here's Iwobi. That's a useful ball. Gray, Davis, Mopai. Excellent intervention by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Suddenly it's Everton threatening.
It's ebbed and flowed, and that's what's been so enjoyable about this first half. That was good work on the edge of the box. Little 1-2 with Tom Davis trying to thread it through to Mopai, and if Alexander-Arnold hadn't been switched on, he was in.
Mikalenko's cross is repelled by Tsimikas. Here's Nunez, but he's been dispossessed. Anthony Gordon. Nunez gets back and wins the ball tigerishly for Liverpool. Clips it up towards halfway, where Connor Cody, wearing number 30, gets the ball forward. But it's all quietened down. A real flurry of activity in the last 5 minutes of the opening half, but still waiting for a goal here. It's Cody. And now Davis. Back it comes to Pickford. We're into the 3rd minute of stoppage time. And still the play continues. No, the whistle's blown. That's the end of the opening half, and it's been entertaining, and both sides could easily have taken the lead. Tom Davies hitting the post for Everton with a right foot shot, and then Luis Diaz hitting Everton's post with a curler after Jordan Pickford had made a quite world-class save to palm a volley by Darwin Núñez onto the crossbar. It's been an entertaining, hard-fought derby, but it's goalless at half-time. It's Everton 0, Liverpool 0 on Premier League Live.
Previously on White and Jordan.
Well, we didn't budget for this money. Surely we want to give it to our lesser cousins. Yes, and the moon's made of cheese, right?
Clash of the Simon.
The modern day fairy tale today in English football almost inevitably involves money.
There's no such thing as a no-score draw.
But this will be an exercise in goodwill. Something that the Premier League is bereft of.
How biased is Trevor? Sort it out. Seriously, sort it out.
White and Jordan.
The nation's primary destination for a triple distilled opinion and blistering debate.
Weekday mornings from 10 on the world-famous Talk Sport.
Times Radio.
I'm Mariella Frostrup. Join me as I talk to renowned guests about the worlds of culture, lifestyle and entertainment.
Including Sir Michael Palin.
Python's always been, I think, a nice mix. It's about human behaviour and what we do and how we sort of mess ourselves up.
And Werner Herzog.
When you look at family romance, it's a deeply humanistic film. It is a very essential of my films.
From auteurs to icons, artists to activists. Join me, Mariella Frostrup, for the radio show dedicated to exploring the ideas that shape our times.
Mariella Frostrup.
Monday to Thursday afternoons from 1
on Times Radio.
Stories of our times from the Times and the Sunday Times.
One agenda-setting story told in depth by experts.
I'm Manveen Rana.
I'm David Aronovich. Go beyond the headlines with original quality journalism and exclusive interviews.
What happens in the next year may define this country for the next 40 years.
We take you to the heart of the stories that matter. With exclusive access and reporting, you'll hear from the best and most informed journalists from the UK's most trusted newspaper. It's published for the start of your day, and you can listen for free on the Times Radio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search The Stories of Our Times.
John Pienaar at Drive, Monday to Thursday afternoon from 4 on Times Radio.
We're going to be talking about the news, and we're going to be discussing it and explaining it.
Join John Pienaar for the Drive Time show dedicated to the news that matters and the views that need to be heard.
I'm going to give people the time and space to tell us what they think, and I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm going to help you make up your mind.
Trusted news, insight and opinion that speaks for itself. John Pienaar at Drive,
4 to 7, Monday to Thursday
on Times Radio.
Hey, I'm Brian Dunseth from SiriusXM FC. Every Monday, join Tom Rennie and me as we go all around the soccer world on our podcast, Week in the Tackle.
Enter our private circle.
From the significant...
There is a lot of reason to think they are going to win this tournament.
...to the absurd.
This little car comes on, like...
We cover the soccer stories...
Welcome back. It's goalless at Goodison, but certainly not without incident. It's won by Davis. Now it's Gray attacking the Liverpool penalty area. Demarai Gray slips it through. This is a chance. Oh, and it's wasted by Mopay, who had a golden opportunity there to To TalkSport's coverage of Everton against Liverpool, the Merseyside derby from Goodison Park. I'm your host, John Anderson. Alongside me is the former Everton and England winger, Trevor Steven. This is Premier League Live. Everton players in the very narrow tunnel at Goodison Park. Liverpool are going to make a half-time substitution. Fabio Carvalho making his first start for the club, who we saw limping in the first half, is coming off, and Roberto Firmino is coming on. We're not entirely sure whether that's due to an injury or tactical. I suppose either could be the case, because as you said, Carvalho hadn't really imposed himself on the game, and Firmino, who incredibly has never scored in 12 games against Everton, is nonetheless the sort of player who won't be fazed by the occasion.
Nice quality, and he will add to Liverpool's potential going forward. And he started the season particularly well, and he's got goals. And I think that was holding him back when he went on the barren run. I think it was the last season, or maybe the season before. It really affected his confidence, and people were starting to think about moving Firmino on, because he was a done deal as far as performances is concerned. But no, he's come back, and he obviously loves playing for the club, and let's see what he brings to the second half.
He's got 3 goals in his last 2 games. Got a couple against Bournemouth, who add to the 3 assists, and he also scored, of course, against Newcastle in the victory, which took Liverpool level at 1-1 before the late goal by the man he's replaced, Fabio Carvalho. Here's Davies trying to get forward early for Everton. It'll dribble through to Alisson. Everton have Jordan Pickford in goal, Nathan Patterson, James Tarkowski, Conor Cody and Vitaly Mikolenko at the back. The midfield is Amadou Onana, Tom Davis and Alex Iwobi up front. Anthony Gordon, Neil Maupay, the new signing from Brighton, and Demarai Gray. They're unchanged from what they fielded in the first half. Liverpool, with the one alteration, have Alisson in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk and Kostas Tsimikas across the back. Harvey Elliott, Fabinho and now Firmino replacing Carvalho, with Mo Salah, Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz. It's a very attacking Liverpool side, really, but they haven't created that much, have they?
As I'm looking along the line there, and I'm looking at Salah, it's Firmino, it's Núñez, and then there's Luis Diaz. Wow.
Yes, it's quite a cool set.
That's a lot of firepower, isn't it?
It certainly is. Here's Virgil van Dijk. He's giving it away to Demarai Gray. Gray probably picked the wrong option. It looked the harder pass. He tried to find Davis, and instead Diaz is driving forward for Liverpool, cuts it back. There's Núñez. I think the ball has deflected behind, has it? He didn't catch it properly at all. It was Diaz with the cutback. Darwin Núñez back from his 3-match ban, starting the game, and he had a header just wide, and then that effort, which was brilliantly saved by Jordan Pickford in the first half, but nothing's come of that combination between he and Diaz.
Well, that's a great example of how fast Liverpool can turn it around. You know, the poor choice of passes, wasn't it, from Demarai Gray, and the turnover. All of a sudden, Luis Diaz is at the byline, pulling it back for Núñez, who mishits his effort on goal.
Here's Fabinho. Everton give it away quickly from the restart. Now Diaz, Tsimikas on the overlap, turns inside Patterson, but can't find Diaz again. It's tidied up by Conor Cody, and Everton are feeling the pinch in the early moments of this second half. Tsimikas will take the throw in. The Everton fans a little quiet at the moment, as the Liverpool fans sense there might be something on. Tsimikas has the ball in his hands. He's delaying the throw in. Finally he takes it, and it comes to Núñez, back to Tsimikas. Tsimikas has to come back along the byline and find Virgil van Dijk. He in turn finds Gomez. Now it's Alexander-Arnold, and Everton have won it back. Here's Onana in midfield. It's a nice ball over the top to Davis, well intercepted though by Van Dijk, and Tsimikas finds Firmino freshly on as a half-time sub. He finds Salah. Salah attacking the 18-yard box, tries to find Firmino. It's behind him. It does find Nunez shot is blocked. Tsimikas, edge of the penalty area, trying to maintain the pressure for Liverpool. Clips it towards the back post. It's only half cleared. Harvey Elliott into the box. Tsimikas! Was that another save from Pickford? The ball has somehow stayed out. Tsimikas from a difficult angle bet it with his left foot. Maybe the ball had gone out of play, I'm not sure, but I'm still struggling to see how this stayed out. I think he's just clipped it over the top.
Yeah,
which is wasteful, really.
Again, Liverpool really, pushing at Everton. A lot of pressure on them. Harvey Elliott's drive across the penalty area. I think Pickford did get a touch to it.
Yeah.
And then Tsimikas, from a tight angle, to be fair to him, knocks it over the bar.
He looked like he was trying to cross rather than shoot, whereas if he hit it hard and low, he might have got
he didn't have much conviction about what he was doing there.
Anyway, Everton survived. Pickford, with his left foot, gets the ball back into play, headed away by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Firmino out muscling Davis on the far side, playing a clever ball over the top towards Salah, who's brought it down, but is quickly tackled, and Demarai Gray is trying to counter-attack now for Everton. Faced by Tsimikas, Gray goes round the outside, cuts back. Here's Iwobi, and now Mopai with an overhead kick from around the penalty spot, which was always going over the top, as the former Brighton man was dreaming of a debut goal for Everton.
Well, Everton win the ball back from Salah around the halfway line and then counter-attack. Eventually Iwobi knocks the ball into Maupay, and it was a difficult one for him. It was a poor angle to knock the ball in from, but Maupay tried to make something of it. Sort of half overhead kick, clears the crossbar.
It was never going anywhere goalwards. Here's Elliott for Liverpool, end to end at the moment. He finds Salah, right hand side, looking to take on Mykolenko. Mykolenko's done well. He goes down, there's no foul. It eventually comes off Salah. It's a throw in to Everton, right by the corner flag. He's having a conversation with the assistant referee. The assistant referee is pointing to his boot, pointing.
No, hasn't he?
Yeah,
how he's mopped
busy,
things up. He's got his foot in. Big, tall guy, very athletic. I think he's settled in really well at Everton.
He has. Alexander-Arnold will take a throw in far side. Taking his time about it. Eventually it's come towards the corner flag. There's a touch there from Tarkowski, the former Burnley man, who's hoisted it forward. Has it gone out of play, or is that a foul? Not sure what the decision there will be. Gomez was tangling on the touchline with Maupay, and I don't think it was a foul by either of them, really. I don't know. Eventually got him around the neck. It was a strange one. Anyway, nothing given. Liverpool come again. Diaz, the Colombian, on the left-hand side, finds Tsimikas. Bit of space for Tsimikas to chip across in, but it was quickly nullified by Davis, who got across and headed it out. But it's at the expense of a corner for Everton. We've had 7 minutes of the second half. It's still Everton 0, Liverpool 0. Not for the want of trying. Both sides hitting the post in the opening 45. Pickford with a worldie of a save, and Everton have another corner to defend. It's an outswinger from Tsimikas. They have defended it. It's come out to Elliott. Now it's Trent Alexander-Arnold who hoisted up. That should be Pickford's, and he'll take those all day long. He's looking to get it forward. He has got an assist this season, Pickford, having set up a goal for Demarai Gray earlier in the campaign.
That was
good at those
the direct
shallow
approach.
Yes,
the pass to Demarai Gray actually hit from the floor.
Yes,
that was one of those sidewinders, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's good. No, I know what you mean exactly. Yeah, he sort of